Hello, everyone. Okay, so normally I would welcome you back to Radiant Resilience, but this is going to be my first episode for our book club. I'm still not sold on this name, but ChatGPT was giving me all sorts of recommendations. And then it was like, but people may not know what that means. And I'm like, all right.
Context clues.
Yeah, so for now, we're going to call this the Radiant Resilience Book Club. And forewarning for anyone who is listening to this, there will be spoilers. There will be very real and raw conversations about books. So if you're not ready for that or the books we will be talking about, please check the descriptions for the books that we're going to be talking about so you don't get spoilers if you haven't read them.
Avert your
I-
ears.
yes. So, with me to have this conversation today is my book bestie, Kaylynn Bringhurst. Welcome, friend. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited for this. Kaylynn, I used to do Kaylynn's hair when I was in Castle Rock still. And we just used to always talk books and still talk books all the time. And so I think you're the one that got me onto the romantasy books first.
I
Or
might have.
you were at least like the catalyst for pushing me that last little bit I needed to get on that train.
I have converted a few. I have a few bets in the ether that it's sort of like this weird intro period that you do with people when you find out, especially like I've converted some folks. I work in corporate, and it's like this weird sort of I enjoy reading, and it's like I enjoy reading too. Like what type of books do you read? Or tell me like what you're reading right now is what I usually start with, because you can usually gauge a pretty quickly what someone's interested in. And I think I had posed that question to you early in one of our appointments, and we were talking about it, and I knew you were kind of in the fantasy world, and I was like, "So have you read Throne of Glass?" Like that's always my like intro, and then that's how I start a little mini Throne of Glass cult, which I'm very proud to have been a part of and cultivated and converted people to, because, as you know, that's my favorite series of all time. So I will
Yeah,
never
so
not yap about books and
yeah,
Throne of Glass.
it was kind of funny because I was very anti the romantasy world for a long time
Mhm.
because I was such an avid sci-fi fantasy reader for so long. And I was like, man, I don't really need to read romance mixed with, fantasy. And I put it off and put it off and put it off. And then actually, my husband also one day was like, Tawny, there's a reason it's popular right now. And I'm
Mhm.
like, he's like, it's probably good.
It probably can't suck if millions of people are reading it, right?
Yeah. Now, okay, let me ask you a question before we dive into all the things. Were you always a reader before this genre, or did this genre pull you in?
I love this question. My mom, growing up, was an avid reader. She kind of traverses across many genres, but I just always had this instilled in me reading thing, and also aging myself, but it was the 90s. It was before tablets and fun things. So I
Sure.
entertained myself at restaurants or in areas where my parents were like, you need to be quiet and behave yourself, with books. So I was an avid reader, and elder millennials will remember. And maybe you participated in this too, Tawny, growing up in Colorado, but the Pizza Hut Book It challenges where you would
Gosh, I
get,
forgot about
how
those.
could you forget? Those are like formative to who I am the things that I would do as an adult to be able to be incentivized that way. Like, I don't need an incentive
Mm.
anymore, but still, knowing that if you read a really big, like, chapter book, that you would get a free pizza. I probably had free Pizza Hut pizza for a year just because I was always getting those free book it challenge things. Also, at my school, elementary school, there was like a whole year long reading challenge. And if you read like above your grade and like bigger books and harder vocabulary and things, you could win a prize. And me and my best friend won a limo ride and lunch with our vice president or vice principal. Sorry, still corporate, vice principal at the time. And which now, like as an adult, I'm like, what a lame prize. I think we went to Burger King. But when you were like 10, it was pretty sick.
Yeah.
So I always grew up reading. And then I think there's this phase that many of us, especially women, as we grow older, as we are moving into our careers, where most of us kind of get away from that. Like I was reading for school. And I just felt like I didn't have capacity for like anything else beyond that. But I had this avid love for reading my whole life. And as I grew older, and again, I think a lot of people can relate to this, I was just like, you know what? I am sick of scrolling. Like, I'm sick of not doing things that I don't enjoy. And just, I miss the digging into a good book. So I started, which I think a lot of people, when they get back into reading, I should say a lot of women, again, I'm generalizing, but when we try to get back into reading, we start with like contemporary romance. And Colleen Hoover was having a moment when I was getting back into it, which now I'm not a big fan of those books. But no offense, they're not for me. But
I
I
haven't
was
read a
like,
single one yet.
okay, well, I think some people have really strong feelings about it. And I'm like, I'm not knocking the author. They're just not my style. So it's kind of like when you're getting into like wine or beer or something new, like you got to try a bunch of things to find like what you like. So I started with contemporary romance and I was like, I mean, I'm reading a lot. I don't know that I'm like loving it. And then I think the book that got me back into and then fully committed to this genre of romantasy, fantasy romance, whatever version of that you want to call it, was Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing is a gateway drug. I think everybody who has read it knows. And then it's either starts with ACOTAR or Fourth Wing. I feel like that's usually the intro series because they're pretty digestible, they're palatable. Fourth Wing has dragons, which is so fun, and especially coming out of like Game of Thrones era, I think it was really having a moment. And ACOTAR is just like really easy, and I would say ACOTAR is more romance forward with some action. So I started there and then I was like, this is fun. Like I enjoy reading again. Now I'm going to find every book in this genre and digest them and enjoy them. And that is where I am now. Where now I constantly read every single day, at least one book a day, because I also do audiobooks now that I'm commuting back to an office. I think I've always had a desire for it. I think it took this genre to get me back into it as an adult, and also just being mature enough to frankly not like give a shit if any like about what I'm reading. Because again, in a corporate environment, I have a lot of these books behind me. So again, not poo-pooing these genres if folks enjoy them. But there's this thing of like, oh, you enjoy reading. What self-help book are you reading? Or what corporate like what are you reading to educate yourself? And I fell into that trap for a long time of just like, oh, I have to be reading to educate myself. I have to be doing it to be better. Those books are boring. I just find them boring and I wasn't enjoying them. I wasn't finishing them. I wasn't reading them. And now I just unapologetically say like, I read for fun. Like reading is my entertainment and I'm not going to apologize for that. And I get a lot of really great things, even though these are like fun genres out of reading these books.
Yeah.
That was a
I mean, I
tangent
think
you did not ask me for, but
no,
there you go.
it's totally fine. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for those books, the serious,
Yeah.
books for
And
sure.
there've
Because
been a few that I loved, but I just think limiting yourself and what you enjoy to what you believe people expect of you or what you believe people think you should be reading is so limiting. And I just was like, I got to get out of that trap.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did it for, the 10 years that I felt like I needed self-help books and I devoured them, and business books too, because I was trying to build my business and stuff like that. So, but I don't know. I find now same thing. I read for fun. I read for an escape. And I've said that for a long time. Like I didn't read self-help or nonfiction for a really long time because I was like, no, I don't. I live in real life. I don't need to
I'm good here.
I'm good. I need to escape it a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but I do feel like as somebody who I was into reader in school and elementary school all growing up. In fact, my parents called me the Spark Notes queen in high school because and that's dating myself.
You're
if
like, I
anybody
can
knows what Spark
find it.
Notes is.
Yeah. They'll tell me what I need to know.
Yeah. So I'd watch the movie or something like that.
Yeah.
And, that usually wasn't the same as the book, but in my mind it was. And so, but then when I was building my clientele early in my career, I sat down. I had so much open time at the salon. I was just
Mhm.
waiting for walk-ins because, again, that was before social media and all that stuff.
Right.
So there wasn't the advertising that we have now. And I was just waiting in the salon. And so I picked up Harry Potter because I was like, well, everybody
Classic.
loves Harry Potter. I love the movies.
Yeah.
So I
So you did movies and then books. I don't think we did.
did the first 5 movies
Okay.
when I had started reading the books, right? Because there's 7, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the 6th one was the first one that I had. There wasn't a movie out yet.
Okay. I don't think
Yeah.
I knew that for some reason. I think I forgot. I knew you had read the books, but I think if I had to like go back and trace it back, I think Harry Potter is what won me the limo ride because that was very much I was reading it when it came out, which again, I'm not trying to date myself, but it was the early 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s, and that was definitely like a higher reading grade level than I was at. But I remember again, my mom being a reader, like she and I would both wait for the midnight releases and we would go get them. And then she's a faster reader than me, so she always got the books plus it was her money. So I'm like, all right, fair. So she always got the books first, and then I would get them after her, and I would like just sit in my room for a whole weekend and devour them. But that is that's a series I need to go back and reread because it has been so long since I've read it.
I actually just this last Christmas or birthday, my husband got me a whole new set of them because I had reread them so many times they
Yeah.
were falling apart.
He was like, it's time for an upgrade.
Yep. Yep. So and then I went to Twilight, and then,
Yes. Everybody
everything.
had a Twilight era.
Yes. And I read all those
Yeah.
before the movies came out also.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and then it just spiraled, and I've done all the Game of Thrones, and I've done, so I've very much stuck to sci-fi fantasy, and I was always with a book, but
Yes.
I did not devote as much time to it as I all of a sudden do now.
It is consuming.
It really is. It's really bad. I actually am worried that I have a problem, but not a bad one.
I was gonna say, I always say, I'm like, it could be drugs. It's
Could be drugs.
books.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think I have done 21 or 22 books this year so far.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what my count is yet. I'll have to look. That's a
Yeah.
good,
So I do sort of feel, as somebody who has always been a reader,
Mm.
that there are people that are coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden
Yeah.
because of all of this romance. And now we have the like sports romances that are becoming really popular thanks to like
Heated
heated
rivalry.
rivalry. Yeah. So I just think it's interesting. And, they say that books are on the rise, Barnes and Noble's making a comeback. And I gotta say, I'm a little salty just because I'm like, who are all these people that all of a sudden, like, I've been a reader my whole, at least my whole adult life.
Sure. Yeah.
And, and then everybody, thought I was the nerd because I was reading the fantasy stuff.
Mhm.
But now that there's sex involved, now everybody's like, okay, I'm on board.
Hey, you made it a little more sexy. Like the dragons are weird, but the sex is fun.
Yeah,
I think it's back to being like reading is approachable again. And I think there is, and this is like a societal sort of like theory, right? But I think there's this desire and this shift of how do I get off of a screen more? Granted, I am an exclusive Kindle reader. I'm aware that is a screen, take it for what it's worth. But how do I get out of this?
Kindle, you're not getting your text messages.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
getting,
it's just a book. Just I don't have to carry all of my books physically anymore. And with how much you and I both love traveling, it has changed the game and how much reading I can get done when I travel. But I think there's this desire and cultural shift away from screens and just, most of us sit in front of, or many of us rather, sit in front of a computer all day, and then we sit in front of I always say the big screen, the TV, and then our tiny screen in our hand, and we're usually looking at both of them somehow at the same time. And I think it's just like the right moment, and the writing and the opportunity for authors to put something different out there or bring something new to the table. And I also think, and I'm getting on my little like feminist soapbox, as you know I love to do, but I think there is also an awareness of, hey, women are a strong financial demographic in this day and age. There's a lot of money to be had if you start catering to what we're looking for and what we want to consume, right?
And like, how long have women's sexuality been suppressed?
Yes, it is also the sexual awakening. And let's be
Yes.
honest, many of the partners of the readers are getting the benefits.
Yes.
There was a whole series that I saw on TikTok, and I shared it with my husband because I say the same thing. But she was like, I loved this book. My husband really liked this book. And it's like, what are the benefits that the partners of the readers are getting? Because I know there's trickle down economics happening with these books.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that has a lot to do with it for sure.
Mhm.
Is we've just, our sexuality, we weren't allowed to enjoy sex for so long,
Right. It was so
according
taboo.
to society. Yeah. And now it's like this is our and like I mean, of course porn's always been out there, but like
Yeah, but porn is not made generally for the female
no.
demographic, let's be honest.
No, and I think that for women it's so much more emotional and we want the story and we want the whole thing, it's not
We
just
want the
watching sex.
plot, we wanna be immersed, we wanna be attached to the characters, and not always, like, again, the generalization here is for some women, that's not the case, but I think more than anything, it's also more often than not, these popular books that we're talking about and these, romantasy genres are written by women, for women, about women, and it's about women characters who are complex and they are strong and feminine and sexual and, all the things that I think we as women know, but haven't been able to be every facet fully in our day to day lives. And we're getting to experience that and be like immersed in it. And also, there's some like cool magic and shit.
I
Like,
mean,
who wouldn't
yeah,
love it? I would love magic. That sounds so fun.
magic and dragons and all
And
the
and
things.
guess what? You're getting it the women's getting an orgasm every time. Men should be reading these books. They're
Yeah, they
tutorials
should be
in
getting
here,
tips from these books.
right?
Yeah. So, anyways, I started with ACOTAR and then did Throne of Glass. And then I think I did Fourth Wing after that. And
That's right,
then
I
I did
remember.
Crescent City and so on and so on. And now it is a massive problem that I have discovered this genre that I love. So, yeah, those were my gateway ones. And yeah, I can't say enough about Fourth Wing. Like, love
Ugh,
you, Rebecca Yarros. Please come to my house because you live near me. So,
I would love to be friends with Rebecca Yarros.
I would love to just see her somewhere. I'm like, every time I'm out, I'm like, is she here? Is she here? Is she here?
Keeping your eyes peeled. I know she's
But
around.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that is kind of our background stories for books. So I think Kaylynn and I are on very similar paths at the
Mhm,
moment. There's a few that you've read that I have not read,
mhm.
but I think we're going to start our first deep dive with
First of many.
first Direbound and Furybound by Sable Sorensen. So would you like to start of your overall thoughts on those first of all?
Yeah, I can start. I don't know. I feel like I kind of have a hot take on this series. I will say, I will preface your audience with the fact that I tend to be, and I've discovered this about myself with all the books that I've read, like second books, I have a really hard time with that. I feel, and I understand that they have to be plot heavy, and usually they're like in the middle of like the big bad problem that we're solving or whatever. But man, I just have been feeling like, and not in every series, but in a lot of series, the second book is just more difficult for me to get through, or I just don't enjoy as much. So hot take, I did not love Fury Bound. I
I
enjoyed
actually
it.
agree with you on this one.
Okay, I'm sure. I feel like if we talk about the three books that we're talking about, we're going to have some that I think on each one we either agree or we're completely opposite ends of
Yes.
the spectrum, which is
Yes.
fun because I love being wrong and hearing other opinions because I think it's so great that we can be reading the same content and intaking it and having sometimes wildly different experiences and
Yeah.
opinions about
Yeah.
it. I think that's also what makes books beautiful is you get to interpret them differently. So what I did really enjoy about this series overall is I'm a dog lover. I know you're a dog lover, but the wolves, they were the best.
Such a cool change of pace,
Yes.
right?
It was a
Because
breath of fresh air in a world of like a lot of dragon and
Yeah,
fae.
it's dragon heavy for sure, fae heavy. I did love, I'm gonna throw this out there, we didn't talk about this, but like the vampire aspect of
Yeah,
Quicksilver.
it
You
was
know, so
something different.
when there is a little bit of a different trope thrown in,
Mhm.
I do enjoy that. So I did very much enjoy the dire wolves
Yes.
presence in this series for sure.
Yeah. And it felt like they took some of the really good things happening in the romantasy world with like an animal or a creature element and like a bond, like a deeper relation. It's not just like the wolves exist, right? Like there's a deep bond. They're characterized. They have thoughts and opinions. Hello, Anasa. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but she has thoughts and I'm here for it. They personalize them, but also there was this component of Hunger Games survival, political sway that I also enjoyed. And I think that's what makes I think you get to the point in this genre, especially where you're like, I've read this book over and over and over again. And maybe there's a couple things that are different. And the names are different, if you can even pronounce them
Yeah.
sometimes.
For-
But this felt new and refreshing, which I really appreciated, and it felt like Hunger Games and Fourth Wing and Game of Thrones had a baby, and it was Direbound and Furybound, and those are, like, some of the 3 best series of all time, so
Yeah.
can't be bad.
Yeah. No, I didn't think the series was bad. I really enjoyed the first book
Yeah.
because I think it was different.
Mhm.
And
I couldn't put it
then,
down. I
yeah.
blew through Direbound.
And, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Furybound took me a little bit more, but we got there. I just sort of felt like, and again, I understand that there's a lot of world building and plot that needs to happen. I just felt like that one we were dragging, and then at the
Mhm.
end it was like everything has to happen in the last.
Okay, we're going full spoiler here because
Yes,
we need to talk about that.
we have to. We have to.
Because, okay, all this fucking buildup
To
for killing the main guy,
yeah, the big bad guy.
the big bad guy who was like been around for centuries, unkillable, nobody figured it out. And then we just behead him like that.
And it was like five, it was like a 10-minute, I don't even think it was an entire chapter of like the
No, I was
battle at
actually,
the
I
end of the day.
think, I can't remember if I was listening to it or reading it, but I had to go back and be like, wait,
Wait,
what?
what? Yeah, I did the same. I was like, "He's dead." Like, for real, because I was like, "Surely this isn't it." And also, we spend the whole time getting these tears, right? Which seem like a really big, and I'm sure they're gonna be important, but I was like, "We didn't try." This was my gripe with the second book. 2 things, and it has to do with, like, again, what are we doing? Erin did nothing to try to learn her magic. She was just
Mhm.
chaotic, and sometimes I feel like sometimes that's lazy character development when a character is just like, oh, I'm this big bad female and I just like fly by the seat of my pants. And again, I'm a type A person, so maybe it's because I don't relate at all. I'm like, also, I would never survive in these worlds as much as I think that I would. I'm like, I would be dead the first trial. I would have been gone. But she didn't spend any time like developing or learning or trying to find out more, which was frustrating about like her own magic or the systems or like the things that she was up against. And then same thing with the tears. Like we spent so long trying to collect these seemingly really important magical things and we did nothing with them. Like other than they kind of blew some stuff up on accident. I was like, why did we collect him all then? Like, what are we doing? So I agree. It was a lot of lead up to a very quick, he was gone. And then all of a sudden we have a new bad guy that we know nothing about.
Right. And there was a little bit of foreshadowing for that.
Kind
But
of.
how did we spend 2 giant books?
Yeah, these are not
I don't
200
know.
pagers.
I feel like she could have been probably building the gods with this storyline a little
Yeah,
bit more if that was the direction she was going to go.
sure. Yeah, the religious segue was kind of like, okay, like we got a little bit of that in the first book, but then it felt like really important and I was like, "Wait, why do we care all of a sudden?" I'm very
Yeah.
confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because it was different. I think I like the I love it. Also, my oh my gosh, I'm getting the wrong character name. What's the main character? Male
Karen?
character.
Male. Oh, damn it.
Oh, here, hold on. I should know this, but I'm getting him mixed up with um Stark. I should know that. Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Start.
Yes, Stark. I'm getting him mixed up with Cross because I just finished
Yeah, I know. I
Broken
did
Duck.
the same thing. I did Fury Bound and then I went
Yes.
to Silver
Because
Elite
they
and then
dropped,
Broken
and I was
Dove.
like, well, perfect. I'm gonna do this now. I could not get enough, and I wonder if if anyone else like noticed this as much as I did. Stark hating how messy Marin was had me laughing out loud. Like the amount of because I could just picture this disgusted look on his face every time he walked into her room. And I loved it. And I love that he's so I love a grumpy shadow daddy male character. Nothing makes me happier than when they're just like grumpy for no reason. I mean, he
Yeah.
has reason, but
I also felt like his mom
the
met a
dynamic here was interesting.
very quick ending as well. Do you know what they reminded me of? Do you ever watch Big Bang Theory? They reminded me of Leonard and his mom.
I could see that. Yeah, I
I
could
mean,
see that.
obviously Stark is not as anywhere near as nerdy as
No.
Leonard, but like that was what I was very much picturing when I
I
was
love that.
reading the dynamic between the two of them.
That's a good comparison. I wouldn't have connected those dots, but yeah, I could see that. That's funny. Yeah, they had an interesting relationship, and I agree. I think all of a sudden she was just gone, and we didn't really know much about her. I feel as though we're teed up where like book 3 we're gonna get some context, and I wonder if some of that is part of like the abilities that are passed to Stark from the Sovereign Alpha magic or what, but I feel like there's more to that story. I will say I will be disappointed if we don't get more of that in the 3rd book because I feel like
Well,
it's a missed area.
it does have to do with that god guy, right?
Yeah, who was living in her head, right? Or was
Then at
part
the
of the
end, he
magic?
escaped
Did he?
Stark's head, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I
I think
I feel
he
like
like,
the end just happened and then I was like, "Oh, we're done reading." What just happened?
or shit, I need to look this up. Or did he take over Stark?
Well, when I think from what I remember, the magic passed to him,
Right.
and I think he can hear him now. But I wonder if he's in that like weird space that Marin and, oh gosh, what was his name? Killian?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's like another weird, like in between space that he exists in. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see.
Here we are talking about this series and being like, how did it end again?
Okay. So after Killian dies, Stark falls into a trance-like state and becomes compelled by Nocturne's influence. The twist is that Stark's family was never truly serving the Sturmfrost bloodline the way everyone believed. Instead, his bloodline has apparently been tied to Nocturne's plans for generations. Stark wasn't consciously betraying Marin, but everything he did to help her claim the crown may have been part of Nocturne's long game all along.
Okay. Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
Oh no, we accidentally released an ancient god. I love ChatGPT.
What a
Nocturne's prison is broken. The true enemy is finally loose, and Marin realizes the entire conflict with Killian was only the beginning. How many books are supposed to be in this series? I thought it was a trilogy.
oh. And now I'm like, will it be more? You never know. Well, we'll probably get like a novella in the middle.
Don't get me started on novellas. I'm very cranky about novellas right now.
I agree. Especially for like incomplete series.
Yes, that is my biggest
So
complaint.
frustrating.
Okay,
Yes.
as somebody who's okay, we're gonna go on a tangent for a minute.
I love a tangent. You know me.
Huge Game of Thrones fan. Everyone knows that George R. R. Martin's dropping the ball there.
Yes.
Have you ever read the King Killer Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss?
No, but I've heard really good things.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
The first 2 books, Name of the Wind and A Wise Man's Fear,
Okay.
supposed to be a trilogy. Been 20 years since book 2 came out.
Oh my gosh.
So same thing. He has written 2 or 3 novellas of that series and not written book 3.
And not the 3rd book. Yeah, that it feels like a cop out.
It's like, oh, I can't give these people the actual thing they want, so I'm going to give these tiny little books to satiate them to get me a little bit longer. That's what it feels like.
I feel like, and again, I'm a feminist. So I'm like, I feel like these are things only male authors can get away with. George R. R. Martin and this author. But the Kindred series, the Burn of the Everflame.
Yeah.
Have you read that one?
I haven't read those yet.
Okay, we're not going 20 years. We're like 2. but it's supposed to be the last book of the series. And no shade on Cole, the author, but a little bit of shade because it's been a long time, like a little bit, like in a loving way of
Well,
we've been waiting forever. And there was a time where she was like releasing just like special editions of the same book. And I'm like, nobody wants, everybody wants this last book. And from what I understood, like it was written, it was just a publishing issue, which I'm not an author. I could never do what these people do, but it sort of to me felt like a missed, like strike while the iron's hot. And if the book is written, like, why is it taking this long? Now it's coming out supposedly because again, the date has changed, I think no less than 7 times. But it's supposed to be coming out this fall. And I have a friend who we buddy read that series and she was like, if this 4th book does not come out, I will flip a table. Like I'm so done waiting for this series. But there's so much that goes into it. And again, to then just not have a bunch of people either hating what you wrote or loving it. And I couldn't imagine being on the receiving end of that. But
sure.
sometimes I just think 20 years in between series and then thinking a novella is going to like satiate people is just completely unreasonable. I love a novella as like a prequel. Or
Yeah.
like if we're in a series where we only have like one main POV and then we get like someone different, that's
Yeah.
fine. But if
Yeah.
that's like what's keeping the story and the plot going, hard pass every time. I'm still gonna read it, but I'm not gonna be happy about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so frustrating for me. And let me be clear that like the reason I'm frustrated is
Yeah.
because I love these
Love it
books.
so much.
I
Right.
love it so much and I'm just being let down and I would almost rather just have what they have to put out. I don't
Yeah.
even care.
I'll take what you can give me. Please.
Yeah.
Please just give it to me.
Yeah. So and same thing with the Kingkiller Chronicles. I've reread it so many times because they're like, it's coming this year. I'm like, great, I got to get my reread in. Reread them.
And then nothing.
We
Yeah.
may have not. I don't know. And so I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a little PTSD right now with Callie Hart and that
I
announcement that came
saw
out the other
that.
day.
I know.
I'm
I
like,
saw that.
we're pushing it a year.
A whole year.
What if we push it another? I mean, and again, I absolutely respect that she's had some
Yes.
mental health issues.
Absolutely.
I don't want her to rush it by any means. I want a good product, but I'm telling you, I'm like, this is how it starts.
Yeah, it feels like a slow moving train wreck with the first delayed release of a book. It certainly feels. And again, I think it's just because we've seen this story before with it getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and it's just so heartbreaking because again, we just love it. I would rather her take her time because I did not love Brimstone. I didn't love it. Again, I'm really hard on a second book. I'm sorry. Second books for me are just like, I don't know.
The end of that one was also, I feel like maybe along the same lines as Fury Bound a little bit because I was like, wait, what the fuck? Where did all these?
Yeah. Who's this?
His
What's
dad's the dragon person in the what?
Why
the
are
fuck?
there trees? Like, what's happening? Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, and then the whole time I was just mad because I was like, if they kill the fox, I'm gonna riot. Like, but then I was mad because I was like, you have this power to give like a piece of your soul. And you gave it to the fox. Like I really loved the fox too, but it felt a little. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't have done the same, but it was a little. It felt a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But yes, that book was another one where I'm like, if we're spending, and again, these are not small books, so I'm like, we're spending hours, days, even in like the whole first 80% of the book with like things happening, but like nothing happening at the same time. And then all of a sudden it's 20% of like everything is happening and then it's just over. And then we have to wait 2 years.
Yeah.
Like just such a cock block. I hate it.
It's funny because in the past, I've never been the person that was up on the newest outcoming books, like ever, until recently. And so like this whole like waiting for the next one to come out is like a new concept for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it is tough. And because I have, like we were talking before we hit record about our memories with these books.
Yes. That's my thing. I'm like, I'm getting old. I don't remember all these people and you spell their names weird and I don't remember. And there's all this lore. And then I got to reread this shit again.
And we don't like always, I don't know, I just don't always have time for another
No,
reread or
I
read the
never
new
have
book.
time. Again, I'm still gonna do it, but I don't have
Yeah.
time. That's why my trick for a reread has been audiobooks. That has been my
Yeah.
version because I have a hard time. I have done a couple of just brand new audiobooks. But I just comprehend better reading. And 9 times out of 10 with an audiobook or a podcast, it's kind of that passive form of entertainment, right? Like I'm driving or I'm cleaning or I'm doing yard work or I'm whatever thing I need to incentivize myself to be doing. So I listen to something that I enjoy because it's something that I don't enjoy. So I need to have like a broad understanding of the plot. And then it's enjoyable for me to like revisit this world. And again, we were talking about this prior too of like, I can still tell, like, I still know the major things that happen in the book, but even if I've recently read it and then I go back and re-listen to it, sometimes it's a brand new experience. There are things that I'm like, I don't remember this at all. Or did I read this book? Am I sure that I read this book? So for me, that has been my like cheat code of audiobook. And then if I can, I'll get them on Libby too, so it's free. So that's my
Yeah.
like financial hack too, because I'm like I cannot justify having the Kindle and paying for the audio version of it always. I will do it
I'm
sometimes, but
totally guilty of all three.
I've
Physical, Kindle. I've been doing
we've
Kindle
all been.
Unlimited to try to help with that.
But not that again, if you're reading more like current stuff, it's not on Kindle
Not on
Unlimited.
there.
And so you're
Yeah.
like, I'll try to catch it on a pre-order sale sometimes or whatever. But also, again, it could be drugs. Like I'm not apologizing to my bank account or my husband for spending my money on books.
Yeah. Yeah. I should do the Libby thing for at least audiobooks. I really,
Zero patience. But yeah, if I know, especially again, if it's a re-listen where I'm like, when it's available, I'll get to it and I'll try to time it, like get on the hold for it with enough time for a re-listen or before the next book comes out. But that's sort of my like, again, cheat code of being able to reread, get re-familiar with characters and things without spending a bunch of money and investing a ton of time. So I'll just listen to it when I'm commuting, when I'm getting ready, like doing dishes, whatever it is. And that's worked really well. And then I kind of get to save my true like eyeball reading time, as I call it, for net new books.
a really slow reader. So the audiobooks have really helped me get through books faster because I listen on faster speed and then I
I
do.
cannot do that. I commend you for it. Yeah, I'm like a 1X. I need the whole experience.
I will say if you're not paying attention or you get distracted
Yeah.
in the slightest, you have to go back for sure. But yeah, so I do that and then I can do that also while I'm doing chores, while I'm walking my dog, while
Mm-hmm.
I'm driving or whatever. So it helps me get through books a lot faster. But I have figured out for myself that I have to learn the world first.
Yes.
So the ones where I have started with the audiobook and not the physical book, those are the ones I've enjoyed the least and I get lost on the fastest because I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So I have to read probably the first, at least half of the first book
Physical.
physically before I can start listening to it because otherwise I get lost and confused. That's what happened to me with When the Moon Hatched. And I think that's why I didn't enjoy it as much.
I would never. That is a style of writing and size of book and depth of world that I would never wish for. And all of that to say, like I love that book. So it's not a knock on it, but it is dense. And I never recommend that book to like folks who are new to fantasy or new in that space. It's more of one of like folks who I know who have either done like Game of Thrones or like just true fantasy where the world building is so intricate and there's tons of characters. Not that there's a ton of characters in When the Moon Hatched, but there's enough going on that there's a lot to digest. Um, but after you get through like your Actar Fourth Wing, like intro period and you're more, you can handle more. That's like your master's version of reading. And I love the writing style. I'm like, it's super top of mind for me because I'm reading Ballad of the Fallen Dragon, Fallen, I don't know. None of my business. I was going to read it no matter what the title was. Oh, do you have it?
Falling. Yes.
Falling. Okay, good.
That
I was like,
I have
Falling?
it. I just haven't
Fallen?
read it yet.
I just started it and it just reminded me again, like how much I love it. But again, the writing is so dense and the world is so intricate. I don't think I could. I re-listened to it on audio, but I could not have. And that was truly one that I was like, did I read this book? I don't remember these people. Like,
And
I
maybe I should
forgot.
do that because I was annoyed at the end of it because it was like, I don't know how many pages it is,
It's
600
big.
pages. And I felt like at the end, now I realize they have to leave you on some cliffhangers,
Yeah.
but there were some things that I felt like needed to be like
Yeah.
the fact that they never explained her memory loss makes me so
Mhm.
fucking mad.
Again, I think this one is like, I think it's intentional. I think the author really wanted you to sit with that.
Yeah, but 500 pages of that?
I think I don't know. I can't say much without spoiling like the next book, but I truly think that this series will be one that, like, when it's done, we will think about it for years after because there's so much and the writing style is unique and it does leave a lot of things open for interpretation. And I don't know that we're all going to get like clear black and white answers, but I think some of that is intentional and beautiful in the same way that, right, the assumption is that Rave, our main character, has gone through just such extreme trauma that is why her memory, and she has buried and repressed all of that so much that, and again, spoiler alert, that she has a whole other personality, is a whole different type of person. And I think it actually is beautiful that it's sort of left up to interpretation and we're not like necessarily word for word rehashing her trauma, but still able to understand that what she went through was so life altering that this was the only way her psyche could respond. And I think there's something about that is actually really beautiful.
I mean, that's definitely very relatable and
Sure.
very real, and I understand that, but I don't know. I think I just wanted more at the end
Yeah.
of it for how big of a book it was
Yes.
and how much time I invested in reading
Yeah,
it,
it was an investment.
and I was like, "Man, I
It's
wanted
over.
more at the end of this."
I agree. That one was definitely one at the end that I was like, wait,
But it was enough to like, I have
yeah,
it. Like, I will read book
yeah,
2
yeah.
because I want to know more about this story. So that is, I think that one's creeping up sooner and sooner on my TBR list, maybe even next. I keep trying to debate between that and I need to read The Knave and the Moth, but right? Is
The
that what
Night
it's
and the
called?
Moth? You
Night
haven't
and
read
the
that one
Moth.
yet?
Yes, The Knight and the Moth. I have not read that one yet,
That's a good one.
but because the next book comes out later in the year, then I've just been kind of like pushing it because all
No,
these other ones are coming out. So
I would say do Ballad of the Falling Dragons while, like, When the Moon Hatched is fresh-ish
ish.
in your mind.
Yeah.
You could definitely, I will
Yeah.
say that was a series that a lot of people were like, I need a refresher. So there's tons of great recap, either videos on TikTok or
Mm.
Instagram or synopses that you can just Google. But I think that actually will be a really beautiful segue into Night in the Moth because that's another one. The writing, I mean, Rachel Gillick, like, she's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
You did One Dark Window and Two Twisted
Yeah.
Crowns.
I really liked that. And I thought the magic system was so cool in that one. Mhm.
Again, something unique and different and fun, but I really just love her writing style. And I think Ballad of the Falling Dragons will be like a really good segue. Whereas I just had the opposite. I could not wait to get to Ballad of the Falling. I'm just going to call it Ballad now because I keep butchering the name and I'm so
Sure.
sorry if I'm getting it wrong. Because I was struggling through Broken Dove. And I think this is one where we disagree.
So good segue.
Yeah, I was
Let's
gonna
do
say,
it because I am
it's a
dying to
segue.
talk about this.
Okay, so the writing styles were entirely different between Broken Dove and Ballad of the Fallen Dragon. Couldn't be more different. So for me, it was jarring. It was like, whoa, like I just got thrown off the bus and now I'm on a train. It felt
Yeah.
very different. But Silver Elite and Broken Dove. So I'm very curious what you think. Silver Elite ate that shit up. I don't know if I just picked it up at the right time where I apparently had nothing going on in my life or my work life. So I think I read that book in 3 or 4 days. I was doing nothing but reading and I really enjoyed it. Again, it was something different, a little bit more modern. I will say I purposely knew that book, two things. I knew it was controversial, that people either loved it or hated it. And I knew that it was sort of like a new romantasy style for the author. So I purposely avoided reviews, and I also waited to read it until the second book. I knew the second book was coming
Okay.
because I have zero patience. And to your point, I have so many books that I've been waiting for the next book in the series that one, I can't keep track of them anymore. And two, I'm going to lose my shit if I keep waiting 2 years for these books and have to keep rereading them over and over
Yeah.
again. So I purposely waited on that one because I think it came out last year around the same time as Rights of the Starling. And I was like, well, I'll just wait. And when I picked it up, I could tell after I finish it and read the reviews, there was a lot of people who were like, this is a copy paste. This is like the author took a formula for romantasy and plugged it into like a
I mean,
contemporary environment with the like military component. I didn't
they're
get that.
all very similar if
I
you
was gonna
really
say, I'm
say
like, that's
that.
like going to a cheese store and being upset that all they have is cheese. Like, you're gonna have a different flavor profile, but it's still cheese at the
Yeah.
end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
and also you opted in for said cheese, so you
Yeah.
cannot be upset. Like, you were here for a reason. So I didn't necessarily I don't begrudge the author for that. And I think it's always brave to like step into a new genre, especially at the peak of it, where there's so many like critical folks like us who are going to
Yes.
have thoughts and opinions about it. So I did enjoy it. I liked that it was fast paced. I like a military academy. I'm discovering this about myself, like academy setting, because it goes back to, I think, like all the things that I grew up reading of like Harry Potter, Hunger Games, like
Yeah.
anything like that that's kind of reminiscent is just really nostalgic. So I really enjoyed that. I am not a big fan of like the insta love that happened between Cross and Ren. And I will say I saw the twist of him being Wolf like a fucking country
Okay.
mile.
And I'm going to be honest here. I am awful at picking up on that kind of shit. But I do think that fairly early on, I was like, I wonder if that's Wolf. But I
Yeah,
wasn't like totally
sure.
sold on it. But I was like, I guess when it finally came out, I wasn't shocked, I
Yeah,
suppose. So,
you were kinda
yeah.
like, "Yeah, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah.
Yeah, I have these I call them, like, my book intrusive thoughts, and I wish I could just be, like, a vibes reader, but my mind is never fully, like, I just am I probably could be diagnosed with a lot of things, but I'm, like, in the book, and my mind is constantly thinking ahead in the plot,
Okay.
whether it's intentionally or not, and so I have the opposite problem you have, where I get almost all twists spoiled by my own brain. And it's so frustrating because I'm like, I'm not intentionally trying to think ahead, but my mind will be like, I think that's this, and then just like flit away. And I'm like, thanks a lot. Like, you just ruined my fun. So I saw that one coming, and I try really hard to just, again, like I avoided reviews and everything to just enjoy it. And my mind still was like, yeah, he's Wolf. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, great." So there were a few twists. Now there have been a couple of books that I've been able to like have such a shocking plot twist that I didn't see it coming. Metal Slinger is one of them, which is why I'm dying for you to finish it because I
And I'm halfway
cannot wait to
through.
hear what you think. There's so much more you still have to experience. But anyway, I really enjoyed Silver Elite. And then we get to Broken Dove. And it was a good time. Like, never, listen, I don't think I've ever rated a book, even books that now I would tell you that I would not recommend and I would never read. Um, it's hard. I'm an easy grader. Generally, if I had a good time, I'm giving you 4 stars. So
Yeah,
it's,
I'm the same way. In fact, one of my friends read When the Moon Hatched, and to be clear, she does not like dragons, which is the weirdest
mm,
freaking thing. But she says when she reads dragons, she just always thinks of Puff the Magic Dragon. And I'm like, that's weird, but
that's a choice.
that's where her brain goes. And so she had said to me, because she follows my Goodreads, and she was
Okay.
like, why the fuck did you give this book 5 stars?
Because it
Please
was
tell me why.
amazing.
And then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, you're right. I didn't love that book either. Why did I give it
Why
five
did I give
stars?
Yeah, there's something like, I don't know, that feels bad about it. Because again, I'm like, well, I chose to be in this cheese shop. If I ate a cheese that I didn't like, that's my fault. Like,
Love to read and I love a series. And I respect that these authors pour
yes,
their heart and soul into this. And so
100%.
for me to go put like a 2-star review on a book, it has to be really fucking bad.
It has
Like
to be
really bad.
horrible. I don't think I don't know that I've ever given anything to, and there have been plenty, trust me, now that I think about it, that deserved it. But like a bad book to me is probably like 3 stars. I still think I gave Broken Dove 3.5 stars, which for me is, I'm like, ugh. But I had a good time. There were components about it that I did like. My biggest gripe, and I already told you this, but I just really want to say it out loud. Such a fucking missed opportunity for telepathic spice. That could have been just chef's kiss, something new, different, like phone sex, texting sex, ick, hard pass. Telepathic sex? I don't know. I could have enjoyed it. I'll never know now. Never got a chance. Like, could have been great. I just think it was a really missed
Do
opportunity.
They did a little bit of it was physical and telepathic in Silver
Yeah,
Elite, right? Because
kind of.
wasn't she, like, feeling what he was feeling at the
Yes.
same time, like, but they were physically doing
Hmm.
all the
Yeah.
things.
No, I wanted like long distance. Let's make this relationship work in any way possible and we'll figure it out. She literally has the ability to project, like, she could have projected amazing. Like, I'm like, so I'm hoping book 3 because truly, what a missed opportunity. But I am a big Gray stan. I think he as a character individually is great. Did I like him and Ren together? Not really. Like, I think they both got something really important out of that relationship. And I think the author did a really good job of articulating, like, them learning intimacy and what it means to actually truly love someone, which, let's be honest, other than the like long-term friendship component of Ren and Cross, like there was no it was just like, I really love you and you're really hot and we have great sex. And I'm like, I mean, some relationships have been founded on less, but I would
Yeah.
like a little more depth.
I wonder if something will come into play there for why they linked telepathically as
Uh,
kids. Like, because, in all of these other books, we have the
yeah,
matches, we have the
right.
imprints,
The
we
sort of
have
like
the.
faded component.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wonder if there will be
Maybe.
something tied into that somehow.
I
But
hope so.
I was very sad. Okay. So I have been comparing this to the Twilight love triangle where Edward is Cross and Jacob is Gray. And in both of those instances, I feel like she's meant to be with Cross, even though I
Yeah.
don't dislike Gray. And I
Yeah.
think that there's like chemistry there and there is something there. But to
Mhm.
me, I'm just like, no, she's supposed to be with Cross.
I agree. I was like, this is fun, right? Like, this is a fun thing for her. And I mean, not all fun, obviously. They clearly like trauma bonded over some things
Yeah.
and learned some things about each other, good, bad, or otherwise. But yeah, it felt like intermission. Like, it felt like this is a placeholder. This is a warm body.
But how is she going to approach that now? Like, now she has crash landed with Cross.
I know.
Doesn't
And
even
helicopter.
realize it, I think. And he said at the end of the book, he was like,
Never
I
gonna
will
let her
never
go.
let her go.
Yeah,
I will never let her out of my sight.
I'm just wildly nervous. Speaking of novellas, I'm wildly nervous that we're gonna get just like a cross POV because we got nothing from, or essentially nothing from him that whole time. And they were gone. I didn't realize this in the moment, but thinking back on it, they were apart for over a year.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
What was he doing?
I know. I wish there were more cross POVs sprinkled
Yes.
in. I really do.
Again, I love my grumpy male main characters, and he's very grumpy.
But I loved that book.
I'm so sorry.
No,
I
it's
feel like when I
fine.
texted you after, I was like, "What was that?" And you were like, "I loved it."
Down. I don't know. And I couldn't tell you because one of my other
Yes.
friends was like, why did you love it so much? And I was like, I don't know if it was all the fucking shit storm at the end that I couldn't predict. But like, I don't know. I think I really love the characters and the whole thing. I don't know. From the beginning of Silver Elite, I fell into that story very easily.
Mm,
The style of writing, the characters, the dynamic, the whole thing, the whole world just like really sat well with me. And I could not put that book down.
really?
I read and listened as often as I possibly. I think I finished it in like 5 days.
Oh my gosh. I think it took me, which again, everyone reads at very different speeds, but I think that took me probably like 2.5 weeks, which is
Yeah.
long for me
Yeah.
for any book.
Yeah, and that one's not a huge one.
No. And so
Yeah.
I was surprised. And part of it was just like I had stuff going on and I didn't.
Sure.
I will say one thing I've discovered again, I think this is like very much also a journey that you go on of like self discovery.
Yes.
Getting into reading and things like that. A thing that I've learned about myself is I to get into or be really like immersed into a book or a series or a world, I need like a good like couple hours at the beginning where I can just sit and read. And because try to find time during the day, but I work full time in a corporate setting, which unfortunately really cramps my reading style. I need to find it once we find the career path of just getting paid to read,
I
I need
know.
on that bandwagon. But anyway, I read every night and the problem I was having was gosh darn it, I kept falling asleep. I was tired. I had so much going
Yeah.
on. We were doing all kinds of stuff personally. And so I just was getting like such little like micro dose increments of the story, and I think that was part of why it was taking me so long to get into it. And then when I had a few like good sessions of reading, I was able to pick it up. But I still stand by I don't love a book, any book really, but especially like a second book in a series where it feels like we're dragged through this slow moving plot and then we just cram everything in the last couple of chapters. Like that just feels unfair to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been here this whole time. I'm committed to the journey and it was boring. And now all of a sudden everything's happening. I feel like I just got whiplash and then you're going to make me wait 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. Like, I
Yeah.
just walk away
Do we
from it like,
have a release date for this book
I
3?
don't think so,
I
not
don't
that
think
I've
so
seen.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even know. I think because I had originally read it was going to be a duology,
Mm.
and
I
then it
love a
was like
duology.
I was like, oh, actually, what did ChatGPT tell me? Like that it was written originally as a duology, but the
Mm.
author might leave book 2 open for a book 3 because that was before Broken Dove came out.
Okay. So
And
it's
I was like,
wide open door,
yeah,
clearly.
wide open.
Wide
So,
open.
but I don't know. I've been seeing a lot online about like really successful duologies that are finished right now. So,
Yeah, I love ooh, that's a good question. What is your, like, ideal, like, series size? Like, what do you
size. Oh
Yeah, because
gosh.
I think this is a hot take for some people.
Yeah.